Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. This is Kimberly Coleman, aka Sister Girl Speaks. I am right next to the lovely and royal blue, my podcasting sister, Kay Renee of Karen's Nuggets. Good morning, Karen. How are you?
Good morning, Kim, and good morning to our listening audience on the last day of April
Yeah, yeah,
2022. And I don't
2022.
I
This
don't know
has
what
been
it's doing for
quite an
you.
yeah, this has been quite an April. And before we bring our special guest on, we want to say continue prayers for Ukraine. The president asked for more money this week, over $3 billion on it. We're going to do a special show on that in the next coming weeks about Ukraine, informing people about that and what you can do to help. But on a lighter note today, we have an actress, comedian, writer, producer who is joining the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, the great AJ Saunders. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
Good.
How are
How are
you? It's sunny
you?
California.
I'm a little bit tired because we had a show last night and didn't get to
Yes,
bed till 3 a.m., but I'm happy that God woke me up,
Amen.
that my
yes.
bed wasn't my cooling board.
Amen.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
won't go back to
So
the
I'm grateful for energy and strength and the gift that He has provided me with, so that I nurture it and take good care of it. So I'm grateful.
That's great. We want to talk about the things that you are doing now. You had an opening night in your play, and we want to talk about that. AJ, we want to talk a little bit about how you got started in the show, the thing that we know is show business.
Mm.
How you came you from Dallas, Texas, Dallas, Texas, regardless of what Wikipedia says. Um, how did you get started in show business?
Well, I've always known that I wanted to be a performer since I was about 4 or 5 years old. I've always known I wanted to perform. Perform. My father, I grew up with my mom, and my father and she had a great relationship with my whole childhood. And I knew that I was going to live with him after I graduated high school, which where he lived in LA. And so many twists and turns happened with that story. But long story short, I just started, taking acting classes. I really wanted to become a dancer. That was my goal. That was my first love. I
Mhm,
wanted to be a dancer. You remember Fame, the TV show and the
Yes.
movie, and that inspired me.
mhm.
And I had practiced ballet since the age of like 2. And so when I came out to LA, my goal was to be a dancer. And back then that was a lucrative career opportunity because we had dance videos and things like that. So but I injured myself, my feet, and then I wasn't able to dance anymore by the time I was like 19.
Wow.
So got into stand-up comedy, went to the Comedy Act Theater, met Robin Harris. He became my mentor,
Wow.
and he taught me how to write, taught me how to I learned that was like actually my university. That was I
Wow.
watched all the greats cross that stage like Sinbad and Robert Townsend and Tommy Davidson and Martin Lawrence and oh my gosh, Damon Wayans. Like it was everybody, Arsenio Hall, Eddie Murphy, like they all came through. But I actually met Eddie Murphy at the Comedy Store. I don't know if you
Mhm,
watched the Fat Tuesday documentary, but the Comedy
mhm,
Store is
mhm,
where I met
mhm.
him, and he also was sort of a mentor. Kind of took on that role after Robin Harris passed away, and taught me a lot about comedy, the history of comedy, just a whole appreciation for it. So that's how it all kind of happened. People saw me at the comedy clubs, and there were NBC executives in the audience, and they decided to invite me to their offices, and I got an agent. And then I just started auditioning. They just sent me out, and thank God I started booking things right away. And So that's just, it all kind of happened at the same time. A different world happened at the same time of Def Comedy Jam, or it all kind of like whirlwinded together.
Okay.
Does that make
I
sense?
know that Kay Renee has a question. For those of you all who have Amazon Prime, please check out Fat Tuesdays, the documentary. AJ is in it, along with some of the greats, Robin Harris, Sinbad, Steve Harvey. And it's really a lesson on, how a lot of these comics came up through the
Mhm.
Laugh Factory. So please check out Fat Tuesdays. It's a great documentary. Okay,
The
you
Comedy
had a
Store.
question. The Comedy Store, right? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, as you're now a seasoned AJ,
Ooh, I like that.
we're all seasoned, hon.
Honey, I love being seasoned because food
Okay,
don't taste good. Food don't taste good without it.
that's right. That's right. What, what would you tell your 25-year-old self prior to receiving the role, the iconic role that you played as Gina Devereaux? Even love the name, the last name Devereaux.
Mhm.
Well, it was actually
And
Gina DeVoe. I think they got that wrong too.
Lord have
Gina
mercy.
DeVoe. But even though it's DeVoe and not Devereaux, I still love that people call it her Devereaux because Diane Carroll was my muse. She was one of my
Yes.
inspirations, and so she played Dominique Devereaux. So I'm like, yes, honey, okay, I received that. What I would tell my 21st, let's see, I got on television at around 22, 23. So
Mm.
what I would tell my 20-year-old self, 23, 25, I would tell her to be kind to herself, that she's better than she thinks she is, and that she is enough.
Well,
Perfectly said. Kim, I know you
that
had some questions too.
yeah, I think that we would all tell ourselves that question, even telling ourselves that question now. Of course, we want to talk about, what you're doing now, but I was rewatching some of the different worlds, and it's funny, I have two questions about a different world. The first one is, you were not a featured actor or lead when you did that domestic violence episode.
Mhm.
Correct.
So I want to know, which was one of the directors was Kadeem Hardison
Right.
on that episode. And the second question I have is, do you have any good Tupac stories for us? He played the sexy Piccolo. As you say in that episode, there's something about that Piccolo. But I really want to talk about that domestic. How did you become the lead on that? And did you have any contributions to that script and how it went?
So you're right. I was reoccurring at that time.
Mhm.
And um I had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with the choices that they made in terms of making me the abusee. Um and I'm sorry, what was the question? I'm a little tired. What was the question?
I just want to know, how did you become the person they
Oh, I
decided
don't
to do
know.
that?
Yeah, I don't know. They just collectively decided that they wanted to, Reggie Rock Bythewood wrote the script.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
so they decided that they wanted somebody that was in-house to play the role, because I think it was more effective that it was somebody that the audience had already connected with,
Mhm.
and so because I had been on, but I wasn't a regular, but I was somebody that they were familiar with. I believe they chose me um because I was somebody that was new and fresh, and I was always loud and sassy and
Mhm.
opinionated and whatever. And so I think the dynamic between that characteristic and to see her be abused and to feel weak and to see her in a vulnerable state, what was interesting. So I think that's what I heard, that, oh, we Gina would be perfect because we always see her, she seems so strong, you know
mhm, mhm,
and so I think a lot of times, when we see people who with strength or confidence, we don't we assume that their lives are okay, and we assume that, that they can handle themselves, behind closed doors, but sometimes it's the opposite.
It,
I
it,
can
it
I
it
can
was
definitely
yeah,
I can definitely relate to that, AJ, because I am a survivor as well. So
yeah.
Okay.
We
All
both
right.
are. Yeah, we
Wow.
both are, and that was even watching it many years later. It,
mhm.
it it it's so effective, and it was so
Yes.
on point. So my
Yes.
second question is, you're one of the few people on this earth who acted with Tupac. And when
Yeah.
you watch that episode, he just comes alive as soon as he comes on screen. And
Mhm.
so do you have a good
Baby.
Tupac story?
Well, yes, but since we had prayer in the beginning, I'm not going to share it.
Oh
um,
Lord.
Okay, we'll do that offline then.
so,
I love it.
uh, but here's the serious no, like he was so like the best word that I can describe him is he was so arresting. Like
Mm.
as
Mm,
soon as he walked in the building, he just captured you.
Mhm.
He captures your interest, your attention, and when he spoke, everything else goes quiet.
mm,
He was a gentleman. He was funny. He loved to laugh, and he was so kind. And just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You know, a lot of these guys walk around here talking about that. You know, we have this conscious community now. You
Mhm.
know, some people, I guess, they call themselves woke, but he was one of the first people that really lived that life. You know, he really was about that life, and I have a feeling that he knew he wasn't going to be here long, just
mm,
based on the conversations that we had. You know, so yeah,
mm.
he was quite delicious.
And arresting. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that.
Yeah, he
AJ.
was just
Can I
like he
use
just
that word?
oh
I'm gonna have to use that.
yeah,
But
he was just like that's the only word that because he just woo, like he just drew you in the moment he saw you or if he was interested in you or
Mhm.
just you know you just couldn't turn away. You know, it was like watching a beautiful train wreck.
And that's how
Yeah.
very few people are arresting. I like that comparison. Arresting. I'm gonna have to use that
Oh
when I go
yes, he was
dating. I'm like, you're
yeah, he was
very
very special.
arresting. See what that happens.
Yes, use that and see what happens. You know,
I'm gonna call
you are
you and
very
say,
arresting.
AJ, I told this man he was arresting and he tried to arrest me. Now, how about that?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, right?
Oh my
He
goodness.
accosted me.
He accosted me, yes.
Pick him up.
You you know, um, AJ, I wanted to ask you, you did a really good video earlier this month about Will Smith and Chris Rock incident. And you
Oh,
have a very unique perspective because you worked with both of them. You were
yes.
on the Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, you worked on his show. I mean, you would go from different world, and the weekends you would go. Am I correct? And work on the Chris Rock show. So you
No,
have
I
a
would
unique
go on tour with him. I used to tour with
right.
him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
know you worked with
Mhm.
him closely. Um,
Yes.
I thought what you said in that video was so wonderful. Could you give our audience a synopsis of what you said?
Huh. What so what was your takeaway? Because I can't quite remember all that I talked about.
Okay, you talked about giving grace to both. A
Oh,
lot of people were on Will Smith's case, and
yeah.
you talked about an incident where you slapped the I don't
Oh,
know, it was the
right.
owner of the comedy club. You also talked about how you gave a joke about Michael Jackson, and Janet was in the
Oh,
audience. And
Oh,
sometimes people are in the moment, and you
right.
talked about we're all human and giving people grace.
yes. Okay, thank you. That part. Okay, so because I think I did two videos, and one I was just telling people to shut up. I was tired of hearing about
That too.
everybody's opinion. You know, I just believe that if you don't know somebody personally, then we should keep our mouths shut.
Mhm.
And I am that message is for me too. You know, I had to learn that as well to, don't just go on what you perceive to be the truth. And just and honestly, in your secret place, pray for that person, because we don't know all of the details, and we don't know all of the all of the pressures or the problems that a person may go through. So um when everybody smiles on the red carpet, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're happy, joyous, or free. And I
Mm.
think that will uh God, that the whole incident just breaks my heart. um I read his book, and I was even more enlightened by his story, because it really brought some things to light for me on a personal level. Because I remember thinking, oh, I had one opinion before I read the book, and based on my experience, and then after reading, understanding of, oh, that's why he said that to me, or whatever,
Mhm.
Mhm.
So God is in the blessing business. I believe that.
Amen.
And I believe
Yes.
that, we are all here to help each other and to be of service to each other. I in my whole heart, and that's how I live my life. So whatever we experience, it's not for us to be punished, or to be reprimanded, or to be judged. It's for us to help somebody else with that same experience.
Mm.
So
It's really great.
I didn't so when I watched that over and over and over again, and I even joked about it too. I had fun with it for a couple days, but
Mhm.
when it came down to the reality of it all, like, I too have had some embarrassing moments. Thank God we didn't have cell phones and YouTube and social media. Otherwise, honey, I would have gone viral a long time ago.
Mm.
Because I wasn't perfect, and there's no perfect person, and there's no perfect
Right.
situation. So, for us to stand around, like, and we're allowed to have our opinions and voice them or whatever, but at the end of the day, we have all had that to have a do-over.
Mhm.
All you got to do
AJ,
is
it's
think back
funny
to
you
him.
mentioned about that because a comedian, and you probably know, and hopefully I don't know you work with, is going to lead into my next question. Jim Carrey made this quote: "Perfection is God's business. I just strive for excellence."
Mm. Mm.
So,
Boom.
which leads me to
Wow.
my next question: who is on your dream bucket list to work with? Because
Well,
everybody got a bucket list. Who is on
well,
your dream bucket list to work with?
there's
If I were your fairy godmother, I said, okay, Jay, I'm your fairy godmother. Who is it you want to work with? Get my little wand and say, boom, there it is.
people ask me that question a lot, and the list keeps changing. So today it's Denzel. That
Oh,
part never changes.
okay.
Denzel.
Hmm.
I would like to work with oh my goodness. Let's see. I would like to, oh God, who would I like to work with? You threw me off. I wouldn't mind working with Taraji P. Henson.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't mind
she's
working
great.
with
Mhm.
who am I with most? I know this sounds odd, but I would love to work with Most Def. I know people know him as a hip hop
Mm.
artist, but he's an
Mhm.
extraordinary
He's an
actor.
excellent
he's an
actor.
excellent
Mhm.
actor. Yes.
Yeah. Um, and who else? Viola Davis is cool, not on the list. Have you seen her latest thing
Oh my
playing the
goodness. Yeah,
first
we're
lady?
gonna be talking about Miss
We've been talking
Viola
about
later.
yeah.
We're gonna talk
We've
about
been,
Viola
we saw
later.
her on the Breakfast Club. The
And the
Breakfast
view.
Club interview, the View interview.
Hmm.
I mean, she's just dropping gems like no other. And
Hmm.
I'm going to buy that book. Um, and you don't know this, AJ. I just entered the acting field over a year ago, and I've been doing
Oh,
theater mostly. And the gems that she's dropping are amazing to me. I feel like I'm going to Juilliard, right now.
oh,
So
yeah,
she is doing the doggone thing, as they say.
yeah.
You
And I would
started
like to
in
work with. Let me just. I think Idris Elba and Helen Mirren are on that
oh
list
Oh
too.
yes.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
love Helen
You
Mirren. I think she's just,
she is
oh,
she's
she
amazing.
should be the Queen of England. I think they
You
should
should
just,
be.
I
I
think they should
agree.
just make her, everybody should just vote her in as queen. She's
Mhm.
just fabulous. Who keeps texting me? I'm so sorry. It's
She
so
is
rude.
Oh,
amazing.
no worries.
Um, I
Yeah,
had a
but
question
anyway,
about.
it's, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had a question about your involvement as a comedian during this time. You started years ago, over 20 something years ago, being mentored by Robin Harris, our Chicago brother, and
Mhm.
seeing the greats, Chris Rock. I mean, you've gone to the Harvard School of Comedy, but
Yes,
how
ma'am.
has comedy evolved? Do you have to be more sensitive now, AJ, than you were when you first started?
I don't
I
really think
often
that,
wonder if Def Comedy Jam could have survived in 2021, 2022.
Mm.
no,
Mhm.
Yeah.
no. But I don't think, I think it's more about being, I don't want, I think it's more about being talented.
Mhm.
I think comedians are, we are the original news bearers, and we have a responsibility to speak truth as we see it, and and our job is to shift the perception of the audience, whether it be observational humor or self-deprecating humor, or just straight one liner, like it doesn't, whatever your style is, our job is to deliver quality entertainment. And I think that I think Def Comedy Jam blurred the perception of what comedy is. I think that in our first season we did, it was pretty organic, but then after a while, people just thought, oh, I can just, talk a lot of trash and be, because I'm funny at work, and so I'm gonna go do stand up. That's not really what comedy is.
Right.
And comedy is literally tragedy turned inside out. And we have gotten away from that for a while. And the fact that people are so sensitive now, is a shame. But I think that's a direct result of society, a societal thing. But I think that we should all continue to just be as authentic and as organic as we possibly can. Because here's the thing: it's not about what they say; it's about what we do. If we just
Hmm.
stand on our square and just be
Mhm.
continue to be who we are, then the haters will go away.
Mm,
Because
mm.
anybody who's that rigid and that crunchy and that sensitive, you really shouldn't be watching comedy anyway. You know what
That's
I
a good
mean?
point.
Like, we
Hmm.
invite you to the club, but if you don't want to laugh, we'd like for you to stay home. You know
That's a
what
good.
I
That's
mean?
good.
Because we kind of, we
That's
kind of
good.
thrive on that energy. So
Mhm.
I just think that if we just continue to be who we are, but just stay creative though. Like, there's ways to talk about sex without being vulgar. There's ways to talk about other people without being offensive. There's ways to do that and still be funny. We just have to, not insult the intelligence of our audience and just go for the jugular. We don't have to do that. Dave Chappelle is a prime example.
Hmm.
He's brilliant,
Hmm.
and he's able to craft his material in such a way that you go, well, you know what, he got a point there. Even though it may be uncomfortable, but you go, he's not lying though, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sinbad
You.
is
You.
very good
Yeah.
about Sinbad is excellent about that, because when I've gone to see Sinbad, he never used a curse word, but he takes real life experiences, sometimes his own, and makes it funny. It makes you think like, God dang it, Sinbad speaking truth. So you are
Hmm.
definitely on
And that's what I
point.
do. I stick to my story. I don't really
Mhm.
veer out too much and talk about other people too much, because I've learned my lesson that way and I've gotten hurt by that. I've hurt myself by that. And it's not, uh, that's a young woman's game. Like, now that I'm older and wiser, I know better, so I do better.
Well, we of course want to let you. We know that you had a late night and or early morning rather. Kate, did you have one
Mhm.
last question for
I
AJ?
always ask this to my guest, AJ. Who inspires you to be the best AJ Sanders this universe has ever seen?
my mother.
Mm-hmm.
My mother,
Yeah.
so recently her brother, my uncle, was murdered,
Oh, I'm
and
so sorry.
he was found, it was a very brutal murder, and we don't really have any closure on that yet. But to watch my mom continue to live her life with so much grace and integrity and strength um, is remarkable. It's remarkable. So um, and that's just one example of millions that I can give you. Like my whole life, she's just always she gave me the life that she gave me the life that she wasn't able to live.
Mm,
It's like she gave me the freedom to participate in high school activities. I traveled a lot, when I was a young girl. She just always wanted me to have better. And so what I get to do is bring her along for this. I get to share this, what she nurtured in me, I get to share back with her,
hmm.
And so I think that's really my biggest inspiration is my mom. I know that sounds kind of corny and goofy,
Or
but
doesn't it?
No, no,
she's,
no.
watching her and talking to, like, I can't wait to call her after we get off of here. You know what I mean? So and
Yeah.
report back. Because
Mm-hmm.
and she is literally my best friend, and we call each
Oh,
other Lucy and Ethel, and because I just drag her in all my shenanigans and she puts up with it. And she's just an amazing human being, and I love that I get to talk to her every day, get to see her as often as I can. We live in the same city, and
Mm-hmm.
and I know that there's going to be a day where I can't do that.
yes. I was going to say, please cherish her,
Oh, I know.
and love her unconditionally.
Yeah.
I can speak on that. My mom is now with me in spirit because she transitioned on Christmas Day. It'll be 12 years.
Mm,
And
mm.
so, as we about to celebrate Mother's Day next weekend, and Mother's Day to me is being a mother every day of love. And so please extend our love to your mom because she birthed such a beautiful spirit and a
Thank
beautiful
you.
soul and Miss
Thank
AJ
you.
Mm-hmm.
Sanders. And so we just, we love you. And before we let you go, tell the group, tell our audience how they can get a hold of you, talk about your play, where they can go see you and all that good stuff.
So, the play is called "Ain't No Family Like the One I Got," and last night sold out, standing
Mm-hmm.
ovation. We It's a wonderful story written by a woman named Cassandra Sanders, and no relation, but we are sisters in spirit.
Mhm.
Um, and it's a role that I've never played before. I'm one of the leading ladies, and I'm the voice of reason. I am a mom and a wife, and I have three girls, and my girls lose their minds. I'm trying to hold on to my young girls who have grown up. So it's a coming of age type of story. It's a story about love and relationships and spirituality, and it's a story about friendship, and it's a good story that we can use right now in this
Mhm.
day and time. So yeah, so it's at the Actors Company Theater in Hollywood. Very small theater, but oh my God, it was a powerhouse audience last night. And black, I don't know when did we start like being a part of the play, but black folks was like, "Ooh, no, she didn't. She telling the truth, girl. Ooh, no, what? Kick
Yeah.
him to the curb." Like it was so funny, that they were really engaged with that. Lets you know that it's really interesting, and
Mhm.
people they were really enjoying it.
Mhm.
So you can go
That's
get your
good.
tickets. Yeah, you can go get your tickets on that link, and so you can watch the Fat Tuesday documentary. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
producing a few things in the very near future. I'm writing a project called Suddenly Single, and it is based on the real life experience of one of my dear friends who lost her husband on right the day before her anniversary.
Mm.
And believe it or not, it's going to be a sitcom.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so that's in the works. And anyway, listen, I'm just living life. I'm gonna finish out this weekend. I'm gonna go back and do a fundraiser with my mom, and and go back into my little bubble. Like I'm not a Hollywood girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
I live in Laguna Beach, and I like to wear flip flops and sarongs and tank tops and drink coconut water.
Love
Well,
it.
you
Um,
can follow you can follow AJ on her friends list on Facebook is full. You can follow her on Instagram as Stand Up Girl GURL, and look at some of her amazing pictures and teeth. I'm a teeth person with these amazing teeth. You can her stand up. You can look at the website for the tickets for her show. I'm hoping that you come here to Oklahoma City. We have Bricktown Comedy, and come and
okay.
do the comedy sketch here in
Yeah.
Oklahoma City. Kay is in Chicago. All jokes aside, is not there anymore, which I think you performed at back in the day, if I'm not
Ooh,
mistaken.
yes.
But there's some other there's a documentary about that place as well. So somewhere in on YouTube. So but the other thing I want to say, I'm gonna just do this as personal privilege. If you need a sexy 55-year-old Black woman in one of your plays, here I am, and I'll fly myself in. So I'll say that.
And
Well, I
AJ,
will.
you are always welcome to come back whenever you want to promote something. Just let us know. We will be more
Okay.
than happy to have you. And when I come out to, because I'm actually going to be in California because I turned double nickel in September, so I can come say
Wait,
hi
wait,
to
wait,
you.
wait, wait. September what?
22nd, 922.
Are you a Libra?
But I'm on the cusp. I'm
Oh
a
yeah,
Virgo,
you one of
but
those. Yeah.
yeah, I'm one of those.
You one of those. So you a Libra when okay, like on certain sunrises and yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe we can do a combo, like a combo birthday brunch or something when
That
you
would
come
be
to
cool.
town.
I would
Because
love.
you had lead me right into my birthday.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually
Awesome.
going to be trying to get to San Diego, but I'm gonna look you up so
I'm
we
not
can.
too far. I'm like 45 minutes away.
Oh, then we definitely gonna hook up. That'll
Yeah.
be a good deal. That'll be a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not far from San. We go to San Diego all the time. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna go to San Diego to see Kirk Franklin in July.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
he's doing that
whatever
tour.
you need from
He's
us,
on that tour.
AJ, feel free to reach out to Kim or myself because
I
you're just a
will.
blessing. And please give your mom again
I
best
will.
blessings on her day next weekend.
I shall. Okay, ladies, it's been
Well,
a
thank you
pleasure.
so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Uh,
My
Continue
pleasure.
to break legs on the play.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Okay. Well,
sweetie.
let's do a part two. Let's talk. There's so
Yes,
much more to talk about.
absolutely. We're
Oh
gonna do
wow,
it.
that's it. Yeah, so I know that there's
Okay.
more that you have to share, and we would love to have you again. So get some
Yeah,
rest, break
I'm gonna
legs,
yeah,
and
I'm gonna work on a book soon here.
oh wow,
Yeah, so
look
I
at
gotta
you,
get that started because there's so much to talk about.
Well, if you
that
need a
Tupac
copy
story.
editor, let me know because I'm an author as well, but I'm an author of a different genre. We'll talk about that offline.
You do romantic novels, girl.
Erotica, honey.
Ooh, yes, ma'am. Yes,
Oh Lord, y'all about to
ma'am.
be
We
bad.
definitely gotta talk, honey. I love it. Yes,
Oh boy.
radio
Blessings
man.
to you, Miss Sanders. You have a wonderful day, and we will
Thank
talk
you.
soon. Thank you so much. Thank
Mwah.
you.
Hi,
Thank
sweetie.
you. Bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye, hon.
Bye. Oh wow.
We're gonna have her
Wow.
back,
That was
y'all.
great. That was great. That was great. That was great. That was better than I thought it would be. It was
Oh
great.
my, oh, I knew that. I mean, she's just awesome, truly. Now I see a different side of AJ. And again, the one thing of everything that she said, and you're right, the rarity, there are very few people who've worked with Tupac. And to hear her perspective on him is just why he was so beloved, right? Just very proud of her. Please, y'all, if y'all I had a lot of California cousins, so I need to send that link to them. I say, go support AJ. Go on down to Hollywood and go to the play.
Because I was watching that episode of with Tupac last night,
Mhm.
and when he comes on the screen with that smile,
Mhm.
it's just like,
He's
wow.
a he's
He's
arresting, honey.
Yeah,
He's
he was yeah,
arresting.
he was a prince. We miss you, Tupac. We miss
Yes.
you. We miss a lot of the greats. Robin Harris, who she
Yes.
talked
Oh my
about.
good.
Bernie
Baby's
Mac.
kid.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, if the other day I was kind of having a moment and I was watching the Fat Tuesdays and they
Mhm.
mentioned Bernie Mac. And I remember watching uh what was the name of that show that she just talked about? The comedy show that used to be on HBO. And I remember
Def
watching
Comedy
that
Jam.
show.
Def
Def
Comedy
Comedy
Jam.
Jam. And
Shoot.
Bernie Mac used to be at the Cotton Club.
Yeah, on the
So I
South
remember him
Side, I
right.
remember meeting Bernie Mac at the Cotton Club, and it's interesting that you would talk about Bernie Mac because today not only is the last day of April, we've made awareness, for stress awareness, little national financial literacy, but today is also National Sarcoidosis Day, and Bernie, along with a few other celebrities, suffered from sarcoidosis, which is a chronic condition, a disease that affects your lungs. And interestingly enough about this disease, it affects more of us, women in particularly. And there's no known cure for it. And here are some of the people besides Bernie Mac. Floyd Mayweather Sr., professional boxer. NFL Hall of Fame legend Reggie White, who succumbed to the disease. Tisha Campbell Martin of Martin, who also suffers from it. Karen Duffy, who used to be on MTV. And we were talking about in the green room, Will Downing. So this type of condition it's rare. It affects a small part of the population here in the United States, but it's a really serious condition. And you think about it with the pandemic. If you have an autoimmune disorder along with that, it can take you out. So purple is
Mhm.
the color, even though I'm not wearing purple today, but it's a shade of purple with blue. So hopefully you can Google what sarcoidosis is. One of my dear friends has the condition as well. So learn more about this, because the more we know, is they say knowledge is power, and that's not always necessarily true. The application of knowledge is power. So take the time today to learn more about National Sarcoidosis Day, as well as today is International Jazz Day. And I'm a jazz person, I'm gonna tell you. I think Thelonious Monk. I think of Al Jarreau, who even though he was R&B, he came in jazz. Who are some of your favorite jazz artists
Miles
that you like?
Davis,
Yes,
John Coltrane.
yes.
I was very fortunate enough a few years ago. I've met a lot of famous people. My favorite story is meeting Wynton Marsalis
Oh,
at a
yes.
talk about 12 or 13 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even longer than that. And he was, I mean, you talk about somebody that knows music.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the history of music. And so I grew up on Mozart and Beethoven. My
Mm-hmm.
mother, who was a music major in college,
Mm.
we used to go to sleep to Mozart and Beethoven, my brother, even though we hated it at the time. But I really didn't know a lot about Bach.
Mm.
And when Marcellus got up there and talked about Bach, so I get in line to meet him to sign this thing.
Mm.
And he says to me, "Do I know you?" I said, "No, no, Mr. Marcellus, we've never met." He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I think I would remember if I met you." And I just said, and I thanked him. I said, "Thank you for the music, but also for talking about Bach. I'm going to download some Bach." And he sat there for 5 minutes telling me what I should download.
All right
And
now.
he said, "Do you want me to write it down for you?" I said, "No, I got it." This man who won, I think he had won a Nobel Prize, one of the first Nobel Prize winners for jazz, I think a Pulitzer maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and all these Grammys. And I mean, talk about gracious. So that's my Wynton Marsalis story. I love Wynton Marsalis.
Ain't gonna stick to it. No. So, if you get it, see, I love jazz. I mean, to me, what wealth is when you can just listen, have a glass of your favorite cocktail and listen to some smooth, I can't even talk this morning. Soothing, cooling jazz on just a beautiful. It could be raining like it may be raining here in Chicago. Just listen to some jazz and everything is all right.
We of course had the wonderful Ajai Sanders on. We really didn't get to talk about a lot about hot topics, and we don't want to be on here too long. We know that you all are enjoying the show, but we did want to say for those of you all who have not, go and look at the interviews that Viola Davis gives, as we talked about earlier on The View and on The Breakfast Club. I believe she was on Good Morning. She was on the Today Show. I'm not sure she was on Good Morning America. And in each of these interviews, she is dropping gems about humanity, about being humble. I mean, she is just, AJ talked about her bucket list of who she wants to work with. That's my bucket list. I've seen her twice live. I saw her at the Lincoln Center, at the Kennedy Center. She did King Hedley, for which she won a Tony, and I saw her and Denzel in Fences on Broadway, which she won a Tony, and he won a Tony as well. Both well deserved. But the conditions that she grew up in, and to have survived it, and to be the woman that she is a lesson for all of us. So I know, Kay, you watch those interviews as well.
I have followed Viola's career in the beginning. I remember her when she was on Law and Order, and she just had, she is also arresting in a way that she captures you the moment she comes on screen. And to hear that she was brutally, assaulted, white boys, and they were white, I'm gonna keep it real, throwing bricks at her when she was growing up in Rhode Island, living in just poverty, talking about those incidences, and it was riveting, right? But to find grace as she is found, one thing that is so true with all of us, whatever career that you aspire to be, when you visualize it first, when you see someone doing what you want to do. She talks about when she saw Queen Cicely Tyson for the first time in the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. She said, that's what I want to do. Every actor, every person who is aspiring to be whatever, they like to see themselves in what they aspire to do. So for the fact when she talks about her new book, Finding Me, I think not only she found herself, I think a lot of people are going to find themselves when reading her book. And she gives affirmation to her daughter Genesis. That's powerful to have to tell your child that you can be really anything you want, but just instilling that confidence within yourself. So Viola is definitely, if I were in acting, I would love to be in her space. And I'm gonna put it out there, Kim. We want to interview Miss Viola Davis. So Viola, if you're listening, we would love to have you as a guest on Candid Conversations with K&K, because I know you're gonna get real candid and speak, as always you've been so eloquently, your truth. So kudos to Miss Viola for continuing to live her life with purpose.
And I wish I had the name of the young lady. She will be the first African American woman to be in space for a long period of time.
Dr. Jessica
There
Walker.
you go. That's why Kay is my podcasting sister. Look at that.
I know that she up there now. Wait, she up there now. She probably listens to us now. Hey, Dr. Jessica, we love you, sweetie.
So we just want to say, we kind of take for granted going into space. It is if you watch Hidden Figures and how everything has to be just right. And if you're off by a number or a fraction, it could go wrong, which we saw in the Space Shuttle Challenger some
Yes,
years ago. So we send our prayers to her, ask God to keep him safe in his arms as she, goes up there, does what people do in space. Also, we want to observe this is the 30th anniversary of the LA riots.
really? Wow.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
goodness.
30 years ago, either today or yesterday,
Mm.
when those four cops were found not guilty of killing right oh not killing, sorry,
Beating Rodney
beating Rodney
King.
King. And probably you could say killing because he died years later, probably from brain damage to that case. We all
Yeah,
saw him being um, beat up. In fact, Different World did a show about
they
that,
did. They sure did.
and AJ
Right.
was on that show. We could have talked to her. We could have talked to her about so many things, but
That's why she
so
coming
that
back.
was
But that's why she coming back.
right. But interesting enough, Debbie Allen says that after they did that show, NBC never talked to her about the show and still never talked to her about returning for another season. The ratings for that show were at the top of their game at that time, the top of their game. And they never talked to her about it and never talked about continuing the show. She talked about that on Oprah when they had the Different World reunion. So it's
Wow.
interesting how things have supposedly changed,
Mhm.
hopefully, where we can
Yeah.
talk about. I mean, you look at, different shows like This Is Us, who
Yes.
dealt with the George Floyd killing
Hmm.
in real time. The show, I don't know if you all are watching it. There's some excellent shows on TV. The Wonder Years, which is a reimagined show, the Wonder Years before, but it's with a black family.
Hmm.
And it is a comedy, but they're dealing with some issues as well. And it is very well acted, well written. One of the brothers was in Vietnam. So, see, please, This Is Us is about to go off, but please support that show, Wonder Years. They are renewing it for another season. Also, Abbott Elementary,
Yes.
another great show on TV, which is hilarious.
Hmm.
The great Quinta Bronson, the little girl who was about 4'8", is the creator of that show, and it is funny. So if you have Hulu on demand, please check out those shows so that we can tell the people at these executive offices this is what we want to see on TV.
Well, it's funny you mentioned earlier this week Harvard. Harvard had proposed partnerships with the HCBUs to atone for slavery. Now, it's interesting that Harvard, I like saying it, they want to acknowledge the racial, wrongdoing of slavery, and want to give 100 million. Now, that's something that you want to put a price tag. You can't really put a price tag of slavery because it's whatever the zeros behind it, they still couldn't afford it. What has happened in the 400 plus years of slavery. But, we're going to give Harvard its due that they're planning to spend 100 million to study and atone for slavery. So I wonder really how that's going to look. What do you think about that?
I think the other school that was doing that was Georgetown,
Okay.
because Georgetown had a direct link to slaves building Georgetown, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is building the case for future reparations.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I truly do. It used to be a time, and I've said this, I believe, on this podcast before, that I didn't believe in reparations, that I thought it was a stupid argument and why are we wasting time? But then Breonna Taylor happened.
Hmm.
And I said to myself, this country owes us something.
Hmm.
Because what's the difference in Breonna Taylor being killed for nothing and slaves who were killed for nothing?
Mm-hmm.
And no, and in each case, nobody is being held accountable for it. So somebody has to explain to me what's the difference. And here's the thing, there is none.
That's right.
So as much as I love my brothers and sisters in Ukraine, and that story is breaking my heart. I have really made an effort of not watching CNN as much as I do, maybe a half an hour a day. You'll be proud of me, Kay. But if we can spend billions of dollars for our brothers and sisters in Ukraine, that means y'all got it.
That's right.
We built this joint for free.
On
Gone
the
through
back.
things that you and I can't even imagine.
That's
Don't
right.
even want to think about it.
Nope.
So it may not be a check, although I'm not opposed. As Ta-Nehisi Coates said when they had the hearings on the Hill, I'm not opposed to a check.
Right.
It may be a certificate of 4 years to any college that a person, the
Free.
descendant of slaves, wants to go to.
Free.
Or tax free. Native Americans have that. Or to a being in construction or plumbing or going to a trade school.
Right.
But this country owes us.
That's right.
And that doesn't mean, I want to be clear about this. That doesn't mean that I don't have to work and do what I need to do.
Exactly.
You don't get this money because you chilling watching Ryan's Hope, or whatever all day. It's like the Dream Act. The Dream Act, when they had the Dream Act, people had to be in the service, you had to be in school, you had to be doing something.
Right.
So if you're just sitting around chilling, thinking you're gonna get reparations, no, that's not.
gonna
If
work.
you are actively working, actively in the military, actively or being a stay-at-home mom, amen.
Amen.
Whatever that is, we are owed reparations because, like Angela Rye says, we built this joint for free.
That's right.
And like us in the case of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, we could go on and on. We're still being treated like slaves.
That's right.
And nobody, the fact. I'm gonna get off this. I know I'm getting candid. The
That's
fact
okay.
that a young girl was in her bed like we were last night,
trying to get some rest, to kill. She wasn't doing nothing wrong.
It was a first responder.
Right. Giving herself to help others. See, that's not right.
Nobody has been held accountable for that.
Nobody saying nothing. Nobody's saying nothing about this.
Nobody lost no money.
Exactly.
The hereafter will deal with him, but that's that's above my pay grade.
Yes.
But really, yeah, we like I said, when that happened, that broke
that's rough.
Oh, and here's the other thing. Derek Chauvin would be free if that little girl hadn't take that thing on her phone.
You got it. He's trying to get free. He's still trying to get free now. I'm like, stay your ass in jail. You belong in jail.
Reported it as him being aggressive. If you looked at the trial, the way they reported it was that he was attacking them. And the only reason why Derek Chauvin is in jail right now is because that girl taped it. The only reason why them 3 men, where was that case? Ahmaud Arbery.
Yes. Because it
was on tape.
It was taped. So you think now, before the cell phone, think about a lot of our ancestors that were murdered, tortured, and no one had a visual record. Now you think about
they're all in the bottom of the Chattahoochee River. That's where they used to put the people that they lynched. Yep. That's where Emmett Till's body was found.
That's right.
Imagine if there were cameras then. So that's our candid. We usually have the Let's Get Candid, but that's our candid. So again, we send our prayers to our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. It's, we could talk about it. We want to just pray for everyone around the world, around the country. We know that inflation is hitting people hard. Higher rents, higher food. But I recommend, Jesus. If I don't recommend nothing else, I recommend Jesus. I told
Amen.
Kay, Will Smith went over there to talk to that Indian man. That's fine, no judgment. But let me tell you what I would do if I was Will Smith. I would go down and find one of them little churches in Mississippi, the little white churches, with the paint peeling.
It
Give me
could
one
there.
of them old,
I'm sure there's some in LA or wherever
right?
they live. I'm sure they got
Right.
a church like that too. He ain't
But
gotta go to
I
Mississippi.
would go.
We
I
can
would
go
go
there.
down south, find one of them 70-year-old preachers, some of them big women in the church to sing "Precious Lord,"
Need some
pray over
some.
him, then have a good soul food meal with pork, some pound cake, vanilla ice cream, and some red Kool-Aid.
Lord
He ain't
have
gonna slap
mercy.
nobody
Yeah.
after that. That's
Lord
why
have
we have
mercy.
repasts, because it's healing.
Well, speaking of that, before we get off the air, one of she was a mentor to me.
Hmm.
She was like my second mother, but she was the face of Chicago. As you know, our own Chicago's very own Mary D made her transition in March. Her memorial services are next week, and I'm so blessed. All of us got a chance to know Mary, but I had the opportunity to interview Mary many years ago, and with such grace. You talk about grace,
Hmm.
strength, integrity. This woman, if you don't know her story, I suggest you Google it because
Hmm.
we would still be talking about Mary D. But as Mother's Day is about to approach, as I mentioned earlier, as we were talking with AJ, your mother may not be with you physically, but I'm sure there have been women in your life who've played the maternal influence to you. Honor those women today, whether it's a mother, grandmother, aunt, godmother, teacher, mentor, because someone helped you, because everyone has a village. Someone helped you in the female sense to help you be who you are at this very moment. So we're going to be here in Chicago. We're going to be honoring Mary D, who is just a beautiful spirit. Now she moves on to her next level, and it's just really interesting. It just reminds you how valuable life is and how valuable you can't take life for granted, because one day we're going to be spirit. We're energy, right? Energy cannot be destroyed, only can be transferred. So, as we close out April, and May being, not only Mother's Day, but a lot of things that, spring hopefully will spring here or in Chicago. We'll see what happens. We got food last week. You see, last week should have been April Fool because it was like 80 some degrees, and now we don't know what the heck we're getting here. But
That's my
um
city. That's my city.
I know it's my city too. We grew up here. But we can talk about our city, nothing wrong with it. But again, take this time, ladies and gents, to really just honor people that mean something to you. Don't ever not waste an opportunity to tell them how much you love them, how much you care. Kim said it earlier, and I've said this when we first started this journey. I said on January 1st, 2021, I said I wanted to do a podcast, Lord. I spoke it out, not knowing 30 days later, hear this beautiful soul come knocking on the door. Okay, Renee, I want to do a podcast on dating. And look where we are now. So, it's up, it's as Jay Nicole said, it's up to you. The gift is in you all the time if you want to manifest things in your life. The fact that when Kim said to me, guess who we gonna have in a few weeks? I said, who, girl? AJ said, I said, shut up. Go. And look what happened. So whatever it is that you want, ladies and gents, you have the power to manifest it in your life. And never too late to
Never too
manifest.
late.
And I want to end it with our nugget, as we always do, because I'm all about the nuggets. And it's all about this 5-letter word. Starts with a W, ends with a Y. Worry. And to me, worry is a total waste of time. It doesn't change anything. All it does is steal your joy and keep you very busy doing nothing. So, We're in Saturday, the last Saturday in April, the last day in April. As my late mother, you always tell me, hashtag, why worry when you can pray?
Amen. Amen. And you can catch more of K Renee's Nuggets every day. The website here. Um, I posted on my brother's Bible study the other day. Worship and work instead of worrying.
Amen.
Worship and work instead of instead of worrying. And I just want to leave this. We've been talking about Viola Davis. Courage is fear said with prayer. So I recommend pray. I recommend prayer. I recommend it. I am Kim Coleman, aka Sister Girl Speaks. You all, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our Facebook page. We have some great things coming up, and we're excited about this. So please do that. I am Kim Coleman, aka Sister Girl Speaks. Right next to me in the royal blue is the lovely Kay Renee of Karen's Nuggets. There's her website. We'll be back next week celebrating Mother's Day.
All things
Celebrating
mother.
Mother's Day. So
Yes.
we'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We love you all with the love of Jesus. See you later.
Bye, guys.